From Tobacco Republic in Loomis, California, the Loomis Cigar Cartel presents Beyond the Humidor, a cigar podcast for the rest of us. Hey everybody, welcome back. Scott Robinson with you for another edition of Beyond the Humidor. As always, I am accompanied by my fellow partners in crime, Greg and Larry. Larry, how you doing?
I'm great, sir. How are you this evening?
Good. How about you, Greg?
Fat, dumb, and happy. Nice dinner, good cigar, recording. Could be worse.
Did anybody out there in podcast land catch that we said good evening? We're doing an evening recording this go around instead of our typical, ass crack of dawn Saturday morning.
Well, considering that you and I are going to be out of town, so it kind of works that way.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the reason why I'm going to be out of town is I'm going out to Oregon to go look at RVs. Okay. Now, if you've listened probably about a year or so ago when we originally bought the Class C, does anybody remember what I said when folks talked about why didn't you just get a Class A?
Yep.
Yeah.
Enlighten us, Mr. Robinson.
I shall. Basically, that I wasn't going to get a Class A unless I became a country western singer with my smiling face with sunglasses and a General Lee hat with my name up in cursive on the side of the damn RV. Well, apparently that might come to fruition. Lawrence, I might need your help there.
Yeah, luckily one of us is a sign guy.
We
can make that happen.
Now, I have a plan. I have a plan to help pay for this monstrosity.
God bless a man with a plan.
That's right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to form an LLC. Chocolate Gorilla Productions.
Chocolate Dinosaur.
Chocolate Gorilla, Chocolate Dinosaur, doesn't matter. And then the first client's going to be me, the Scottie Robinson Experience, in my hat, my sunglasses, and my cigar and my guitar.
I thought we'd work this out a little differently last night when we were talking about it.
Well, it's a how would you say, a moving target, kind of like it's an evolving plan.
Wasn't it the down home gospel stylings of Scottie Robinson?
Yeah, but see, I was thinking about the Scottie Robinson Experience. Anyway, we're getting tied up in the details here. Here's the whole point.
God forbid we get tied up in the details.
Tonight at Bob's Country Bunker, I can't even say it.
Bob's Country Bunker.
Scottie Robinson Experience. It only hurts the first time.
Hey, what kind of music you have here? We got both kinds, country and western.
Well, see, here's the plan. See, when we start doing, going out to various cigar shops, we have the RV, and we can write that motherfucker off. And you know why? Because when we get to our destination, we're going to have them pay us $1. And I'm going to bring out my guitar and play one song.
They're going to pay us $1 for the big black guy with a guitar not to sing.
Hey, however it works, it doesn't matter. We still get the $1. So I have received income. And now I have all these expenses, the gas, the taxes on the RV, the payment.
Okay, no, I got all that. I think we need to look at going another direction with this.
Talk to me.
Cigars Gone Wild. Everybody stops. You can hear the needle drag across the record.
Greg, you okay, brother? You just kind of sitting there in shock.
I think that tri-tip's coming up. You all right, man?
Disillusion wonderment. What's going on, brother?
Reading articles.
Should I just play the outro music now? It's been a good one, folks. We'll see ya.
It was a great ride, guys. So, yeah, no. I don't even know where to go with that.
Well, fuck you guys. I got the Scottie Robinson Experience. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you keep up with that. You go right ahead. So you guys are going up to look at one. Is there a chance we're buying one?
Does a one-legged duck swim in a circle?
Yes, sir, it does.
Have you met my wife?
Many times.
Okay. You know what's going to happen. And I think she's found her kindred spirit, the person who's going to be helping us. So I suspect they're going to sit in there jabbering like two Teddy Ruxpins in a room, and I'll just be standing on the side going, oh, well, looks like we're buying this weekend.
The finance guy comes rolling in, about 50 years old, with a half-buttoned leisure suit and a gold chain and medallion. Sign right here, Mr. Robinson. Yep, I can.
Okay,
I can see it all. What the hell was that?
My tablet.
Oh,
You're from Southern California. You remember Cal Worthington.
And his dog Spot.
Yep. As soon as you said that, that's what I
Yeah,
thought of.
this son of a bitch had a panther named Spot.
Oh, panther, Bengal, tiger, monkey.
Panther, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Panther. I realize that's before your time. But yes.
Oh, yeah. I still hear the song playing in my head. I will not entertain you guys with it if you're from Southern California. Or maybe it was like all nationwide.
It started out in SoCal, but he ended up with, I think he had stuff in Phoenix and Vegas, in Fort Worth. I mean, I hope he had something in Fort Worth, looking at that ugly ass hat that guy used to wear.
Ooh, yeah, that suit, man, that just killed me. But hey, it worked. Okay, now I'd be remiss that if I don't ask about how forgive me, Camera Gorilla is doing. How are you there, Camera Gorilla?
Camera Gorilla's doing all right. I've been busy packing for a trip myself. Literally, Greg would have been doing a one-man show this week, and it would have been very, very entertaining.
No, I'd offend somebody.
That's the part that
Even if I had to get Paul back on from the UK.
How did I know that he was going to go reach out to Paul?
Could be Paul, could be Barry, could be... There's a plethora of people in the shop that I could get on this
How do you
program.
feel about being replaced by Paul and his sheep?
That's good. I like that.
So, what are y'all drinking, by the way?
Okay. A couple of shows ago, I talked about going under the knife, and my kind, tiny little wife, what she usually does when I go under the knife, it's really sad that I had to do this more than once, she pops over to the liquor barn, and she picks up a Get Well bottle for me. Now, I had this in the shop. It's plantation rum. And when I first tried it, I mean, it's just an incredible rum.
Dutch got that for you, didn't he? Or Dutch was the one that was
Dutch,
sampling that, right?
Dutch came in and he was good enough to share the rum with us. And man, I was just blown away. What do you think of it, Larry?
This is amazing. Definitely a sipping rum.
Yes.
And I can say that about quite a few rums. There's a lot of stuff that we've had that we sip, the Zakea, the Bamboo, but even those have a little bit of a bite, a little bit of an aftertaste. Not the Plantation, man. That is a smooth, easy rum. So if anybody out there in podcast land is into rums at all, this is definitely something you should try. Or if you want to think about maybe trying rum for the first time with your cigar, this is not going to be something that's going to bite you back. Take it easy. Don't do 4 fingers of Plantation in a glass. But if you got a cigar and you're going to sit for a little while and just relax, and you want a little bit of a alcohol with your cigar, this is definitely a good choice.
I got to augment what you said as far as 4 fingers. Remember that old 70s song, Are You Experienced? Yeah, you can do 4 fingers if you, yeah. But yeah, this comes out of France, believe it or not, out of Maison Ferrard.
Yeah, well, I'll drink it anyway.
Yeah. Origins in the origins of the company, French cognac.
Really?
Yeah.
What, they run out of grapes one year?
I guess so.
Oh.
Right now, Alexandra Gabriel is running Maison Ferrard, and they're located out of Chateau de Bonbonnet,
I'll be down.
out of France.
I'll be down.
But of course, rum's coming from the Caribbean, but still, I mean, it's really incredible rum. It's smooth, yeah.
No, it's super smooth. So far, pairing well. Like I said earlier, this is an evening recording, so we all went and had some dinner, a Cuban sandwich, and some garlic fries for myself. So I'm chasing that with a Christoph Maduro. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know that I'm a fan of the Christoph line. A Robusto Maduro at 5.5 by 54, Brazilian Maduro wrapper, Dominican binder, Dominican and Honduran filler, and it's a medium. is what they say, and I'll go with that. Medium to full, really dark, rich flavor, espresso, chocolates. You know, if you have to put some kind of flavor point to that. Like all the Christoph cigars I've smoked, it's a super good draw. You get a really full amount of smoke with this, and this is a great stick. I need to get back to these a little more regularly in my rotation, especially if you're doing an after dinner cigar, because of it is a little bit heavier. You don't want to do that on an empty stomach, but Glenn does a good job there at Christoph with what they put out, and I haven't run across any of their stuff that I didn't like. That wouldn't be a go to again type of cigar out of that place.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I myself, I had the brisket. They make a fantastic brisket over at Loomis Basin Gastropub. Just delightful, but you can only eat half the sandwich, and you don't even try to power through the other half. So I was pretty full, so I didn't want a real heavy cigar, so I opted for the Arturo Fuente Double Chateau Natural. All Dominican binder, filler, and wrapper. And it's just a very smooth, creamy cigar. The description it gives is a little grassy on the cold draw, and then creamy and white pepper as you smoke. So it's the perfect match for after a real heavy dinner. It's not something that's gonna, tie you down, and goes real nicely with the plantation rum. The one thing though is, it is a little, I don't know if it's a little light for the cigar, because the plantation rum is just so full of flavor. And the Fuente, this one in particular, is just one note, solid.
Very smooth.
Yeah, very smooth, but it's almost like a blank slate, and you got to, worry about, what you're drinking is going to overpower the cigar.
Yeah. I myself did not do a sandwich. I did a tri-tip plate. So tri-tip fries and some weirdly sauced coleslaw, because they use a mustard-based sauce. But anyway, so I picked a Christoph. I went with Larry's brand this time. It's not one that is normally in my rotation, because I find, particularly the Maduro, the Vengeance, the Pissed Off Christoph, they're all really higher than my smoking preference. They're real heavy Maduros. And, I decided, what the heck, let's give this line a try, because, Glenn's a good dude. He's been here before, and I don't smoke his line enough. And this one, Corojo is one of my favorite wrapper leaves with I know it's a Nicaraguan and Honduran Habano filler. It is a Dominican Habano binder. So, it's great, peppery, little grass note in the back of the palate. Just a nice overall smooth cigar. And after a decently heavy meal, it's really good. Now, my beverage tonight, as much with Anthony over there, Camera Gorilla, is Loomis Basin does their own beer. They also do their own homemade root beer, which is fabulous. Want to chime in there?
Yeah, I remember when I went there with my parents for something, like, oh, you got to try the root beer. And I'm like, okay, I'm not, believe it or not really a big root beer guy. This is the most root beer I've ever had. I tell people it's more like a cream soda, honestly. I think it's root beer in name, but yeah, I don't know what they put in it, but if they sold it by the bottle, I would make them millionaires.
It's nice because, typical canned root beer is very sweet. Mm-hmm. This does not have an overpowering sweet behind it, so it's really nice.
And not to sound like the frumpy cigar reviewers, there is something in there. I don't know what it is, but it's a very I get like a Christmassy spice aftertaste to it.
I noticed that.
It's weirdly, it's so good, and it's weirdly pairing really well with the 2012 Barber Pole Lancero that I'm smoking. It's actually going really well with it.
Well, the nice thing about that root beer, it's not as sweet as a canned root beer, but it also doesn't have that plasticky aftertaste that you get from some root beers. Even fountain root beers, some of them are just just have a really rough aftertaste that hangs with you for quite a while.
Yeah, it's really hard to find a good root beer. I've tried to go to the bottles when I just don't feel like drinking, and it's just hard finding a good one.
They're all too sweet.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you right there. When you don't feel like drinking?
Well, yeah, can't drink all the time.
Huh.
Yeah.
There was that one day, it was 3 days in August in 78. All right.
You guys are fucking wrong.
Yeah, but we're consistent. And consistency is a damn important thing.
Good point. Now, by the time that this goes live, the three of us will be at PCA 2022 over in Las Vegas, Nevada.
For those of you that don't know, that's the Premium Cigar Authority Trade Show for manufacturers, media, and retailers.
Authority or association?
I'm sorry, association.
There we go.
Sorry, guys.
So by the time you're listening to this, Larry and I will be nursing hangovers, just slight hangovers.
Whoa. Pump the brakes, man. Don't be selling us out on the air here.
Like people don't know. Come on now.
Yeah, we gotta leave a little bit of mystery to it.
There is no mystery. It's Las Vegas and there's alcohol flowing.
Yeah, good point. We're gonna be shit-faced.
Oh, yeah. Greg will be drinking Shirley Temples, which is okay. He still has hope. Look, the hope that's in his eyes. It's good.
I don't think that's hope, but let's go.
It's something. I
Let's
mean,
go
hell,
with
Hope, desperation, depression, depravity.
Cataract. Yeah.
Pick one. Doesn't matter.
denial. I don't care. Yeah, it's all good.
It changes.
So there are going to be a lot of folks there.
Yes.
That we'll be talking to, and we'll be wrangling some guests for future shows.
Yep. We'll do some interviews for you. It's our first show, so we're still working on the logistics of whether they're going to be live or whether we're going to be bringing them to you at a later date. But there are interviews coming.
Definitely, and quite possibly it's going to be a bonus show. Because we don't want it to get stale.
There will be a bonus show, yes. Mm-hmm. There's also going to be another show I had planned, and it didn't work. We had technical issues this evening, which is unusual, to do more talking than we're going to do now on some of the various cigars that are being released at PCA and some of the things that are going on, because the one thing that's nice is the PCA is sending us emails daily, like 25, 30 a day. So I'm going to probably record a little something, not quite a full hour show because you guys will be sick of me by then. But, while they're gone, I'm going to do some talking with you guys. Maybe we'll do it as a Facebook Live or something. I don't know yet about what. This is coming out after that. But anyway, what's new and what's coming. So you've seen this already.
Well, one of the ones I'm excited about, we talked about this at dinner, Rabbit Air is going to be there.
Yes, they are. And I already replied to her email about getting together with them so we can get an appointment scheduled.
Okay, good.
That'd be cool. Yeah, for those of you that are unfamiliar, that is, I think, the premier home, small area air filter for the cigar enthusiast.
Yeah,
so.
Anybody who owns a Rabbit Air, they are extremely happy with it. And then there's a new bit of technology, and forgive me, I don't remember the company that's going to be there, but it's something that fights mold in your humidor. It'll kill present mold and inhibit new mold spores from growing because, of course, you're, humidifying cigars in a moist environment. So mold is a constant threat.
Yeah, it is. And it's a big deal. Beg your pardon. It's a big deal when it happens, but there are some steps that we'll have to do for a future show on how to take care of that, because I did find a way online that is respectable and does what it's supposed to do.
Right on.
You just smoke through it like it's plume.
Well, if you have to, yes. But,
spray a little Lysol on the end of that stick and light it up down.
Yeah. There was an email that came out, and actually I can find that. Can you two
entertain ourselves?
Entertain the guests while I
Did
find that
you bring your
email?
guitar, Scotty?
No. I didn't, but you know what? At
here
once
it
a
comes.
month, we do something We partner with Zach and his wife Jennifer.
Yeah, Yard Dog Coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and Jennifer and Barry are both realtors here locally in our area, and we help them sponsor an event out in Lincoln, for those of you who are in the Northern California area, at Oliver's Brew House in Lincoln, and it's a invitation only event for law enforcement.
It's a lot of fun.
Active duty, retired, whatever, and it's just a chance for people in that line of work to come in, relax, have a cocktail or two or a beer, smoke a cigar, and let us say thank you for the job that you do.
Yes, to show appreciation for what they do, most definitely. But I was talking to Larry and Jennifer, and Larry's heard this story before. And buckle up because it's a long one.
Uh-oh.
But I'll go ahead and share it now. So,
Story time with Unky Scotty.
hey, no, the Scottie Robinson Experience.
Wait.
I can't take Unky. I can't take Unky. That's trademark with Unky Larry.
Don't say trademark, man. Somebody's going to sue.
My mother's oldest sister, she had one son. He's 3 years older than me. This dude's IQ was somewhere in the stratosphere. By the time he made fourth grade in elementary school, they ran out of work for him to do. He was doing basically close to late junior high to high school work because they just ran out of shit for him to do because he just blew through it. But he was, and I'm no psychiatrist, but he was a bit of a bully and a sociopath. He's my family. I love him. And he was like that big brother who pounded on you, but he had your back when it came down to it, some of the a reasonable amount of the time.
Didn't let anybody else pound on you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's a friend indeed there.
Yeah. So we get older, and I'm living on my own. I'm around 21, 22. And when he graduated from high school, remember he's 3 years past me, and this will become important in a second. He decides to join the Navy. Goes into the reserve, does like some ridiculous 7 or 8 year contract. And everyone's telling him, why are you doing that long of a contract? Why don't you just do 4 years? If you don't like it, you can get out. Well, he knew better than everybody else, and he's smarter than everybody else. So he goes ahead and does this long-term contract. He lasted about a year because we're talking the 1980s in Cold War military where, there are people in the military who didn't do a whole lot. It was kind of, I won't say relaxed, and that's no disrespect to our veterans out there, but if you're around in the 80s,
He showed up for his reserve duty and got to guard a phone booth for 2 days on a weekend.
Pretty well, he was mopping the rec room.
There we go.
Yeah, after a few times of that, he got tired of that, and he just stopped going. Now, back then, it wasn't like the quote-unquote good old days where Shore Patrol came after you or, whatever they do in the Navy and, drag you back. They kind of give you a phone call after you missed the first one and go, hey, we understand you missed your duty this weekend. Is everything okay? And then, of course, they start getting a little more aggressive, the nasty grams and such. He ignores them, whatever, for, a couple of years. Fast forward to around 91 when the Gulf War kicked off. A couple of months prior, he shows up at my parents' house, and now I'm not living there anymore, and he's in a Marine Corps uniform. And they're like, well, how did you do that when you were AWOL from the Navy? He said that he all straightened it all out, and he got to go into the Corps. Mother's washing his clothes one day, and she finds some pay stub with my name on it. And she's just kind of like, that's weird, because he was staying in my old room at the time. Starts making sense later. So then the Gulf War I kicks off in 91, Operation Desert Storm. He calls me and tells me that he's deploying, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, well, hey, man, be safe, whatever, all good. Mother calls me about a month or so later, tells me, you better sit down for this. Because I tried to locate him on the Armed Forces locator, because back then you could make a phone call, and if you had the person's name and or social security number. They tell you exactly where they were.
Mm-hmm.
So gives his name. They're like, we don't have anyone signed up under that name. So then she just gets curious and gives mine. He says, oh, yeah, he's over in Pendleton. At the time, I was an assistant manager for a record store in Fullerton. So, no. So my friends got a good laugh out of it going, so what do you do when you get off of work? There's like a helicopter in the parking lot, and a bullhorn that goes, Scott Robinson, your country needs you. And I hop on the helicopter and fly off. So then I'm visited by the Naval Investigative Service. They take, guy answers some questions for him, and hey, do this and that. And then they finally confront him with this. They're basically like, we know who you are. What do you have to say for yourself? He invokes his right to remain silent. They say, okay, you've got 48 hours to find an attorney to represent you and come back. He walks off the base. Not to be seen again. Now, all the while, right after he walked off the base, he went to my bank and cleaned out my bank account. Not to mention, before they confronted him with this, apparently he was talking to some of his fellow Marines and talking about how he couldn't wait to go to Iraq and kill some Iraqis. So, instant interview with Psych.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, they know who he is. They go stake out my mother's little sister's house to see if they can find him. And my mom's little sister, she's sitting there like, when the Naval Investigative Service shows up and says, shows a picture of him and says, do you know Scott Robinson? And she looks and goes, hell no, that's not Scottie. That's Scottie right there, because she had pictures all over her house. That's, my cousin. So they're like, oh, so then they stake out her house. Now, all the while this is going on, I'm worked at a record store. Then I was working for this company where we delivered medical devices to various hospitals in Southern California. And they were all this equipment was strategically placed in storage facilities all over. So I get paged to say, hey, there's a hip replacement going on at little company I'm Mary, and we need you to go to this address, take this bin, numbered bin, whatever it is, and throw it in your car and take it over to the little company I'm Mary because they've got a hip replacement tomorrow or knee replacement, whatever. So I'm in the city of Signal Hill, California, and it's like, 11 o'clock at night, driving along trying to find the storage facility. So this isn't suspicious. A black dude slow driving down an industrial district trying to find an address. That's not suspicious at all.
Probable cause is what they call that, sir.
So I get pulled over by these two officers. And, they ask me what I'm doing there. I tell them, give them my license and registration. I'm just sitting back in the car, right? Just like, okay, we'll see how this goes. I know I'm fine. One of the officers goes, would you get out of the car, sir? I'm like, is there a problem? They say, well, just get out of the car. Okay. I get out of the car, and then they proceed to grab me by the back of my neck, slam me against the hood. I make the mistake because, of course, I'm from a vein of, I don't have any warrants. I haven't done anything. So as they're doing this, it's like one grabs my wrist. I try to twist my wrist over to go dominate his wrist, which was a bad idea. Slam me against the hood, slam me on the ground. I'm struggling, going, what the fuck's going on? I all of a sudden froze when one of them put their gun in the back of my head.
That'd do it.
Yep. I was just like,
Definitely.
I'm done. I'm not resisting. And they cuff me up, bring me back up, throw me in the car. I'm like, what did I do? The response I got was, shut up.
Yeah,
okay, shutting up. So they put me through the Sally Port, take me over to the station, throw me in a holding cell. Then they bring me out to the desk sergeant. And they tell me I'm on hold from the military because I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck did I do? I'm trying to think back on all the tickets I've gotten saying, did I forget to pay a ticket? What the hell? So he tells me that I'm on hold and the Marines are coming to pick me up. And I'm like, all of a sudden, the
light goes off.
The light goes off and I'm just like, oh.
You got the wrong dude.
Yeah, exactly. And my wife gives me shit for this. She's like, I don't know, you put on this Visa Platinum card voice and somehow the cops believe you. It's like, you've gotten out of more tickets than me and I'm white.
Wow.
Yeah, that came up. So I did the Visa card Platinum voice and I was just like, okay, Sergeant, I know you hear this all the time. So I understand if you don't believe me, but this is what's going on. And, as I'm talking, he's kind of looking at me like, get the fuck out of here. By the time I finish, he's like, what? And I'm just like, fortunately, I had one of the Naval Investigative Service agents' number on a card in my wallet. I said, get my wallet. Her name's in there. Give her a call. She'll back up everything I'm telling you.
At the end of the story, they drive Scottie to the impound yard, pat him on the head, and say, have a nice day.
Oh, no. Before that, after they talk to her, Sergeant hangs up the phone and says, all right, why don't you go sit right there and you're good to go. I'm like, what about my car? Oh, we impounded that. I'm like, well, how do I get it out? Well, you got to go to the impound yard and you have to pay fees. Can I borrow your phone?
And paying no fees.
Exactly. So I called the agent up and she said, give the phone to him. After about a minute or two, he's like, sit right there. We'll have someone take you over to the yard and pick up your car. Now, you would think the story ends there, but it doesn't.
But there's more.
Oh, yeah. Wait, don't pick up that phone yet.
You can get 5 ShamWows for $7.
So years later, his mother passes away. Now, my mom was like being real protective because she did not want me to come to the service. I'm just like, when, I found out she passed away, I said, okay, well, I'll drive down there and go to the service. And she's like, no, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. Don't worry about it. I'm like, well, I got to go pay my respects. It's like, well, no, we're just dumping her. We're going to take her ashes to the poppy fields and, do just a little something there. You don't have to come all the way down for that. And I'm like, well, I don't mind. She's like, no, don't bother. I'm like, all right. And I actually talked to him. Now, it's years later. And, his mom's gone. So I'm not going to be a dick. So I talked to him for about 30 seconds, just give him my condolences and such. And it's fine. I can love people at a distance. Then a year later, I go to renew my driver's license. I'm at the DMV, and they're like, we can't renew your license, Mr. Robinson. I'm like, why? Because you have a warrant for your arrest out in Castaic. I pay my tickets. What do you mean I have a warrant in Castaic? He used my identity again. So after explaining to the judge in Castaic that, hey, that's not me. I was working at the time, had to bring in my timesheet and whatnot. I pretty much told the family, if I ever see him again, I'm just going to start shooting just for the sake of self-defense. Now, you're wondering whatever happened to him.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, well, 2013, after his odyssey of all this crap, he did some time for various shit. I won't even go into it here, but he's on his way to work. He blows a stop sign, gets chased by Las Vegas PD. He's got a gun in a car. Ex-felon, gun in a car. So what do you think he does?
Runs like a rabbit.
Everybody's seen cops, right? So apparently he gets into an intersection, slams into a Cadillac, does the whole turny twisty thing and slams into a phone pole. Kills him. Now, again, I hope his soul finds peace, and I mean that. But when the news came that he died, I won't use the word that my father and I used, but I'll clean this up a little bit. When they said he died, the first thing I thought was, who finally shot that motherfucker? I mean, sadly, that's what it was.
No, and occasionally, everybody's family's got one of those.
Yep. We sure enough did.
Depending on who you ask, I could be that person in my family, but
That was an adventure you just took us on.
Yeah.
Yes,
it really
I did.
was.
Greg, now, Greg, let's go on with your story.
Okay. Back to cigar-related matters, folks. One of the cigars that's coming out, if you've listened to this podcast before, particularly 2 years ago, I was really excited about the release of a cigar. It was called the Highclere Castle. I know Mr. Robinson has smoked it. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to smoke one.
I have had one.
You have, okay. It's a really beautiful Connecticut cigar made by Foundation. Nick Manila's made that. The Highclere Castle was designed to be smoked and be enjoyed as if you were there at Highclere Castle, which For those of you that will know it easily is recognized because it is the filming location for Downton Abbey. What is more important about Highclere Castle, it is home to the Earl of Carnarvon. Don't go to sleep on me, Larry.
Jesus Christ.
And he's bitching about my story.
The Earl of Carnarvon, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, is the one that funded... Hang on, I'm getting to this, okay? The 5th Earl of Carnarvon funded Howard Carter, who was the discoverer of King Tutankhamun and an intact tomb in the Valley of the Kings. The new release for this year is called, and I know I'm going to butcher this, so Nick, I apologize in advance.
I apologize too, Nick. No, go ahead.
It is the Highclere Cynosure. It's for the 100th anniversary of the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. It is made in one size and one size only. What I like about this size is it's a one that I have come to find out that I really enjoy. It's a perfecto.
It's
Narrow.
the Fabuloso.
Very likely.
Greg, if I pay you, will you dress up like the Monopoly man?
No. Because that suits too American. So
That's what's wrong with it.
yes, it is. So it does come in one size. It is going to be, I saw it, I had it. Let's just say it's a perfecto. So it's narrow, gets fat, gets narrow again. What that does is it's an intense flavor to a creamy middle to another intense finish. It's a really good cigar. So I'm very excited to see that because, you guys can't disagree with me. Both the Highclere and its sister cigar, the Victorian, are excellent smokes.
They are.
You get no argument from me on that.
They did a good job with everything in that line that I've smoked. I was a little hesitant on the Castle. I don't do a lot of Connecticut's, and what I ended up with was a smaller ring gauge, which was not a go-to for me typically. So I'll be honest, I was not expecting a lot when I started that cigar, and I was pleasantly surprised. It turned out to be a really nice cigar, and that's something that I don't get in my rotation often enough either.
Okay, let me finish the story before I add to this. Don't say anything until I finish. Don't freak out. The Highclere Castle Reserve, to me, in the back of my head, I'll be thinking, it's the dog doo-doo cigar.
No,
Not because...
Wait, that's the Victorian, not the Highclere.
Okay, the Victorian.
The Maduro.
Yes, the Maduro.
Now I'll shut up.
That will forever be known to me as the dog doo-doo cigar. Not for the cigar itself, but for the reason why Greg got a box of them one Christmas.
Oh, is that the what you gave when Reno crapped the cage?
Yes. His dog explosive diarrhea all over his wooden furniture end table crate.
I'd have burned that crate in the driveway.
Yeah, but then
I mean, hey, get on Amazon. Get on Amazon. Find another crate look just like it. I don't give a shit.
yeah, but I got to answer to his wife.
I don't give a shit.
No, I think she would have understood.
That dog shit the bed. There's no way in hell I'd have been cleaning that.
Shit the crate.
Yeah,
The bed.
I would have dragged. Hey, the best Scott could have hoped for, and this is why I don't dog sit in house at his house. I guarantee you, the best he could have hoped for is me chucking that thing in the back of my truck and driving it to a car wash. Like, why is there water stains on my on our furniture? Because your dog shit all over it. That's why. And I'd have pressure washed the fucking dog with it in there.
Yeah.
I don't give a the dog, the crate, everything that got done. And fuck you, Reno. Yeah, And Reno was a cool dog. Don't get me wrong, but that
May
thing.
he rest in peace.
Yeah, may he rest in peace.
Hold on. We got to do this now.
Yeah, you pour a little out for Reno. Oh, the dog ain't worth no plantation rum. Don't let that.
Hey, that's my boy.
Hey, that dog blew up like a grenade. Man.
Yes, it did. And the pathetic look on his face when I got back from work that day, and he's like, "Help me, please," because Reno did not let too many people pick him up. I was one of those where it was not going to happen, except that time because he's like, "God, you need to help me."
Yeah.
Okay, he just talked about how Reno didn't want him to pick him up. Yeah, you're surprised when Harley snapped at you the first time you met her and you went grabbing for her.
She didn't snap at me. She yipped. But anyway,
she
we're
sheetrock.
friends now.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
It's a wonder
it's
what a
amazing
couple of
when you
treats
bribe
will
them
do.
with treats. What
Yeah, I
happens?
was going to say, you put some Vienna sausages in your pocket. What you do? Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it
Just another day in the Perry household.
pretty much. But you know, that's one of the best things I'm looking forward to with PCA is, you know, we've
Vienna
got
sausages?
well, there's that too. There's so many different cigars that are coming out from so many houses that we all enjoy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're bringing out. You know, I know we're not going to be there the full time to talk to everybody, but we're going to definitely get to as many people as we can.
Well, I'm really looking forward to some of the lesser known houses.
Yes, there's one that I booked an appointment with that I've honestly never heard of called Casa 1902.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for a time slot from them.
What's the veteran-owned one? Dirty Chicken or something?
Drunken Chicken.
Drunken Chicken.
That's
better.
the one. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to talking to. Is
Yeah,
the Drunken Chicken.
and Drunken Chicken, guys. If you're listening to this is important coming from me because this is what I do for a living. Your logo's creepy as hell. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, it's cool, but you see that logo once and you remember that because that is a whoo, damn.
Which is the point.
Yeah, you know, so everybody out there listening, look up Drunken Chicken cigars and, you know, buy some.
Yeah, check them out.
Because, we're looking forward to talking to those guys and looking forward to hanging out a little bit with Matt and Garrett from How About That Cigar?
Yes.
You know, so.
And I think, too, I want to take the time and get to know some of the other podcasts out there, cross-platform with them and, you know, talk to people.
I don't know. You know, I missed out on the last virtual HERF or whatever the hell we call that shit when we get on.
It ain't a HERF. Do not call it a HERF.
When we get on StreamYard or Zoom or, you know, Smoke Signals or whatever the hell we're doing with those guys. Has anybody mentioned to these two cats that, you know, after dealing with us live and in person, that might be the last, you know, if you guys thought that might be the last time these cats talk to us.
No, I think they're as fucked up as we are.
Okay, well, yeah, there
I think
is
we're
that.
good.
All right, there
Yeah.
is that. So
They did a really nice interview. Their podcast, if I can plug them for just a second.
By all means.
They do their podcast live on Facebook and YouTube on typically Monday nights. Last night was on Tuesday because of a scheduling conflict, but last night they were talking to the owner of Fratello. And, you know, it was a great interview. I've smoked his cigars before when they were here, and it's a really good line. It's one I recommend you check out. He's got some new stuff coming out and some new blends that are already on the market, and he was just a cool dude. I'm finding more and more as I listen to these interviews, the business environment within the cigar industry is so much calmer, respectful, and a lot cooler than the rest of society because they all care about their product that they make, and that passion really shows.
Well, cigars are an interesting boutique industry where if somebody's product is getting bad-mouthed, that has an effect on the entire industry, not just that product. And you would think that would represent itself across society in general, but cigars is such a unique kind of little world of its own that I think that at least lately, because, you know, I've been doing this a long time with cigars, at least in the last few years, the manufacturers, whether it's the big houses, the little bitty boutique guys, they do a very good job of being ultra respectful to the rest of the industry, you know, and if you come across something, you know, and we've kind of broached that subject with a couple of the people that we've interviewed. We haven't delved too far into it, but nobody goes out of their way to put anything negative out there about the competition.
Right.
Or, you know, at the very best we could get out of anybody was, you know, that cigar is just not in my wheelhouse, or,
Yeah.
you know, and nobody's coming out and going, hey, that cigar sucks. Because maybe you don't like it, but that doesn't mean everybody doesn't like it. And if you get that negativity going, it kind of just creates
your brand down.
Well, but it creates its own momentum too, and eventually that's going to come around and bite you in the ass.
Well, yeah.
And we've smoked some stuff, even trying to review that. We've had a couple that, I mean, I don't think we've really reviewed what I would call a bad stick.
No.
I've had a couple things that I probably wouldn't go back to, as hey, I'm going to spend, X amount of dollars and, pick up 4 or 5 of these and stick them in my humidor, or I'm going to get a couple and throw in my travel humidor if we're going somewhere. But that's just my preference. That's not anything negative towards the cigar, towards the brand, towards the rep, towards anything. We all have different palates, and the fact that this industry seems to do a really good job of, turning down the negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool, because if that would be nice if, other types of industries that we have to deal with on the daily did that.
Yes.
For sure. But who else is coming that that you guys are like really looking forward to, spending a few minutes with, or
1502.
1502
for sure.
Yep. I've got a message. I haven't got a reply from him yet, but that might be because he's busy. But his booth's going to be there. Enrique. I'd like to see George Rico with Gran Habano again.
Yeah, that would be cool.
A lot of these are people that we've met through this shop, and it'd be nice to connect with them, and hopefully they remember who we are. I mean, we're not like we're easy to forget, but
well, it depends,
There's, Rocky and Nish, of course, are always a hoot to hang out with.
Oscar's
going to be there. Sebastian with Cavalier.
Yeah, because we missed out on Sebastian on the interview.
Yeah, he had that power
Yeah, but
outage he
we'll
was
book
dealing
for a
with.
future show for him.
No, that'd be cool, and it's just
Even connecting with Dion.
yeah. Well, and for me personally, looking at I've only looked at a handful of the emails that have come through from PCA, telling us what to expect and who's coming and what's going on. I am willfully unprepared for, I think, the magnitude that this is going to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago sitting here in the lounge. For whatever reason, I just can't get past the fact that this is just going to be a room full of cigar guys just hanging out. And I think it's going to be so much bigger. And, and I don't know why I have that kind of small market mentality going about this show or this event. But yeah, I think I'm going to be overwhelmed by the volume, by the numbers of people, the numbers of manufacturers, the numbers of guys like us that are out there, just trying to meet people and do their thing.
Well, that's my biggest thing is our peers are going to be there as media.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And there's a ton of guys out there doing some great media stuff, and just that are head and shoulders farther along in this than we are. And just to be able to, meet some of those guys and just, spend a little bit of time with them, I think is going to be cool.
Even, there's a couple of in our own industry here that I want to, even if it's just to say, shake your hand and say, hey, I really like what you do. And you were an inspiration in what we're doing. And, that's David Garofalo being one.
Oh, yeah.
We've met Matt and Garrett, never in person, so that's going to be nice. Charlie Mento with Half Wheel. They've been doing this for a very long time, and they are one of the best as far as media. So
Scott, what's that? The Facebook cigar chick?
Yeah.
it's Instagram, but yeah.
No, it can't be because I don't have Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So,
But
well, maybe she has both.
She's got both.
But yeah, I wonder if she's going to be out there.
I don't know.
I
I don't
hope
know if
so.
she can get into that event or not. Normally, I'll drop her I don't know if they're PMs or DMs, whatever they're called, to see if she'll be at Rocky Mountain if she's not going to be at PCA.
Yeah, because and for whatever reason, because I'm naive to how all this social media stuff really, plays itself out.
You ain't alone.
We're all that way.
Recently, it seems like I'm seeing more of her stuff come up on my Facebook, and she does a really good job with what she puts out. And it's been cool to read some of her stuff and see what she's doing.
There's another organization that's going to be there that I really, even if we don't get to see them, I want to make sure we reach out to them. I found their contact information through an email we got, and it's the Sisters of the Leaf Association. I think that would be a killer interview.
Yes.
To sit and talk with those ladies about their cigar experiences and what they're bringing to the table as their media organization. And
as I say that about Cigar Chick, I'm seeing a lot more of her stuff. It dawns on me, and I'm going to blow this because I can't remember the name of the group. They're out of Alabama, and I think I'd pointed them out to you before, Scott, because they have patches.
Was it Blue Star?
No.
Okay.
God, I can't think of it. I used to see their stuff on Facebook all the time.
We talked about this, and
then
it's killing me that I can't remember.
It kind of dropped off, and I haven't seen some of their stuff for a while. So I'll have to dig around on my Facebook and figure out what it is. But, I mean, there's just – you can get going down a rabbit hole with this stuff on social media or on YouTube or whatever, and there's just a ton of people out there that have some great stuff out there, and it's going to be cool to I think this could potentially be, even cooler than going to something like Rocky Mountain or the Big Smoke.
Absolutely.
Because I'm really looking forward to it, and I wish we could be there for the whole thing, but
yeah, I know.
That's just
I thought about staying an extra day, but I just can't do it.
No, me either.
Yeah, I mean, we can plan that into next year's plan.
Yeah, the problem with this is the timing.
Yeah.
Because the 4th of July week stuff is the only time other than between Christmas and New Year's that I take any time off. So, scheduling that against the driving Miss Daisy vacation time is not a super good idea.
You and me both, brother.
So
because our executive schedulers are like, "You're going to Vegas without me?" Well, yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
That works.
It's hard to sell that business angle,
Yeah, if it was my other job, I could pull it off, but not this one.
Yeah, now if the sign show was in Vegas at the same time, I might be able to sell that to them, but not so much.
Well, this is the largest cigar event for the retailer, so it's something that I'm really interested to see. And there's even a retailer that I'm going to be looking for when we're on the sales floor. I met them 5 years ago, and it's a cigar shop that is in Tombstone.
Oh yeah,
and it's called Smoke Signals. And the neat thing about Allen Street on Tombstone, which is the original street, is nothing can be on that street that was not there originally. So there's a Harley dealer there, which I got you a shirt from. Because there was a Harley repair center there, because Fort Huachuca was a bit away from there. There's the smoke signals because there was tobacco shops there. There's the Bird Cage, the Oriental, which were the two saloons, which is a really cool place. And I'm hoping we see Mick and I'm forgetting what the lady's name is, but hoping I get to see them there. They're real easy to spot because they're in 18th century Old West clothing, or 19th century.
That's cool.
Right on.
Good deal.
That's the great thing about this cigar community. The attitude is that there's room for everybody.
Yes.
It's competitive, but it's not competitive. It's like, hey, you do your thing because someone's going to like that. I'm going to do my thing. Other people are going to like that. People may like neither of us. People may like both of us, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, when we're traveling around and we go into, different shops, depending on where we're at, Scott and I found a pretty cool place in Half Moon Bay.
Yeah.
That didn't really look like a cigar store, but they had
it was a head shop.
But they had some nice cigars.
They did.
We ended up getting some nice stuff. This last weekend, I was down in Watsonville, so Monterey, and then Santa Cruz, and went to a shop that Bob pointed me towards. Is right there on Cannery Row, called the Humidor. Really nice place. Pretty cool guy behind the counter. I picked up a couple of the newer release Lars Teton stuff, and then I'm going to butcher the name on this. I think it's Hellman's. It's the oldest continuous operating business in that county, and could possibly be in the state of California. They have a lounge and cigar shop. Don't have a walk-in humidor. They have the wall cabinets, but they had a really good selection of cigars and found some stuff that I hadn't seen before. I picked up some, and I meant to bring them tonight so we could smoke them, and I got busy and forgot. 60 ring gauge. They're called the Parisian Kings. It's an all Nicaraguan cigar from top to bottom, except the foot has a Connecticut cap on it, and the proprietor there says he loves them. It's one of his favorite cigars. So I picked up 4 of those, and at some point, doesn't have to be on a show, but at some point we're gonna sit back and smoke some 60 ring gauges.
I think we should make that a segment, perhaps. If we don't do it on a show, do it on a segment and let's share it with the people.
Yeah, for sure. But it's, I go down to Oceanside pretty regularly, and there's a shop there on Hill Street, and Pacific Coast Highway now, but it was Hill Street, that, every time you go into Cigar Grotto, they remember who you are, and, hey, it's been a while since we've seen you. And that's just kind of the general consensus. I've found, if any of us go up to Reno and go in Fumare, it's like, hey, how you guys been? Haven't seen you
Ruiz
guys
cigars.
And Ruiz up there in Reno, they got 2 locations now, the same thing.
Yeah. One on Virginia Street, and the other one's the smaller one.
The other one's in Sparks.
Yeah,
I
one's
can't
in
remember the road
Sparks.
it's off of, but it's over there.
Yeah. It's like,
but it's that's kind of the thing that A, drew me to this, and B, has kept me, hanging around it for 20 plus years, 25 years. Is just, you meet some cool people.
well, PCA has always been a dream of ours when we started this podcast.
Yeah, when we were first talking about it.
Yeah, we've been talking about this since episode 1, and it's just a real feather in our caps to be invited as media after, I think we were like maybe 40, 50 shows in, and actually got the the compliment was, hey, we've been, watching you guys.
You guys doing a nice job, and we'd like you to come aboard.
Yeah,
that was super cool, man.
Yes, it was.
And
Josh that we got to talk to, real nice fellow.
Yeah, super knowledgeable dude, and very passionate about what he does.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
And in fact, one of the hours on Sunday, I'm going to slip off to a seminar that they're doing on the government regulation and stuff that's coming out, and particularly like we talked about in a previous episode, the FDA's deeming legislation that they've got going through, and what we can do. So I can bring you more of what we can do to help our own cause along of getting these to go away.
Also, we got to get our hands on the Politico.
Yes, we do. Yep.
That is Josh's cigar. So I'm looking forward to getting together with him and hopefully getting a stick to try it out, and maybe even smoking on the show.
And there's one more thing, if we can go back to visiting lounges for a minute, because we were talking about this yesterday in here. Yeah. I can't strongly encourage our listeners and fellow cigar smokers enough. When you're out and about, visit those shops. Put in Google for cigar shop or cigar lounge. Go take a look around. That's a local brick and mortar guy. He's just trying to provide for his family and himself or herself. I did that over the weekend. I went up to what used to be Adams. It's now CJ Cigars. It's over in El Dorado Hills, and it's a little shop. She's got a little humidor. Great selection, though, and just a nice, welcoming atmosphere. It doesn't have a lounge, unfortunately, but, I brought us back some cigars to try.
Still a great place, to pick up a stick or two, just to support who's out there.
Yeah, because brick and mortars are under attack.
Yes. Oh, for sure. And, unfortunately, this, having gone through COVID the last couple of years, I think the brick and mortars have taken a bigger hit than they would have normally for against online sales, just like everything else, because people weren't, they weren't getting out. They weren't, if you're in this state, you're in California, our governor was telling you couldn't open your business.
Yeah, depending on the county.
Yeah, for sure. So, whenever you have an opportunity, man, to support a brick and mortar, even if it's one stick.
Yeah.
Just go in, pick up something, tell them thanks for being there, and for sure, because the more brick and mortar places we have that we can go into, buy a stick and sit down and smoke it, just the better this community is going to be overall for the long run.
Right on.
Yep.
Speaking of sticks, we're going kind of a little bit long on this. Where are you guys at on yours? How you feeling about that? Christoph, Greg.
I'm 2/3 of the way through. I'm in the final third, and it was very consistent, very smooth through the first 2/3 of the cigar, and the last third is really starting to, the flavor's building. It's a little bit bolder. There's a flavor shift. The woody, peppery notes are kind of disappearing, and it's getting a little bit more power to it with more of a cocoa and if this makes any sense, a white pepper smooth versus, the bite of black pepper. So it's a really nice cigar. It's one that, I say this a lot, but I don't actually do it. So I really need to do that with this line. Is I need to put these more in my regular rotation, because we all get into those habits of 4 or 5 cigars that we like and we stick there.
Or we smoke the same thing 5 cigars in a row. Yeah.
Yes.
And which is not a bad thing, but yeah, it's just moving around, through the different stuff. And we're spoiled.
Yes, we are.
Here at Tobacco Republic, because this is a huge humidor.
Yeah.
By comparison to a lot of the other places I've been. And the selection is excellent. So, you could spend a year smoking something different every time you came in here.
Right.
That's about how long it took me the 9.5 months that I was working for the owner full time in here. It took me nearly 9 months to smoke through the whole humidor to try everything. And it's a great experience. And, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but for our listeners, if you guys find yourself in the Sacramento area and you're going to be up here at Tobacco Republic for an afternoon, and you want to come check out the shop, drop us an email at info@lumascigarcartel.com. Let us know you're coming. If we can make it, one or 2 or 3 of us will try and get up here and hang out and give you the tour.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's definitely, if you're within driving distance, it's definitely worth a stop.
Yeah.
Scotty, how you doing on that one?
Doing good. Since it's all just one leaf, it's pretty consistent throughout. I'm still getting the creaminess and a bit of the white pepper. Mm-hmm. So it's working out just fine.
And what I like about Arturo Fuente. Wrong one. But what I like about Fuente is it doesn't matter what you get out of their line. Their quality, their consistency, and their flavor profiles are second to none. The only one that I think competes with them for flavor and enjoyment is Davidoff. They're superior cigars.
Yeah, they do an excellent job.
The beautiful thing about the Fuentes is this one in particular is not a horrific price point, even by California standards.
Yes.
I think this one was $14.95, or was it $12.95? I can't remember.
14 for the size you got.
Thank you, $14.95. It's not a horrible price point for what you're getting. I mean, this is definitely the caliber. This will stand up to a $20 or $30 cigar.
Oh yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm in that. I'm not as far along as these guys are on this Maduro. I tend to smoke a Maduro a little slower than I do other stuff, and I've been running my mouth a lot, so that slows it down too. But I'll echo what Greg was saying. The farther you get into these Christophs, it just gets more robust. You get a fuller flavor, a little more power, especially on the Maduro. And, once again, Glenn puts out a good product. And I'm never disappointed and always happy with what I pick out of his line. And this one's no exception. So you got any thoughts on that barber pole there, Camera Gorilla?
Oh, the barber pole's always fantastic. But I meant to ask you gentlemen at the start of the show, and I just remembered about it. May I do a quick shout out and share a very short story?
Hell yes.
Please.
So you guys know that for the last 2 decades, but specifically the last decade, I've been a adult leader with the Boy Scout program. And we're getting to the point where I was a scout for well over a decade, and I've been an adult leader for another decade on top of that. So I'm starting to see the young men whom I was either an older scout mentor for or an adult leader for, become adults, go off and do their own thing. And I got reached out to by one of these young gentlemen who is aboard the Subsea Responder 4 in the Gulf of Mexico on a $75 a day paid internship through Cal Maritime. He's an engine room monkey. And I got a message from him the other day, and he's saying, hey, a bunch of us want to buy some cigars to celebrate the end of our voyage at the end of the month or at the end of the summer. What do you recommend? So I get all excited, and I message him back and give him some suggestions. And they wanted stuff that was flavorful but wasn't going to put them on their butt and not break their wallet, which they're out of California, so that basically means anything. But I think they ended up getting some Leaf Maduros, some 2012 Barber Poles, and some Rocky Patel number 6s.
What, no Swisher Grape?
No Swisher Grape. Luckily, this young man reached out to someone who knew something, because they did not want to go into the nearest place that sold, quote, tobacco, unquote. They ordered online. They ordered good stuff, but...
And they're all Caucasian.
Part yeah. There's another story about that I'll tell you guys later, but
I'd throw that in there.
at the end of that conversation, I kind of stared at my message screen. I'm like, my mental image of this young man is not correct anymore. I picture him as a young, goofy, somewhat annoying 12-year-old scout, and now he is a young man who is honestly doing very cool things. So to the young men of Subsea Responder 4, I hope you guys have a safe cruise and enjoy your cigars. Come back safe, please.
Amen.
That's all I got.
And real quick before you go, because you're a fellow podcaster as we are, you graciously have taken over a lot of the production part of this show. How is the Best Care Anywhere podcast going?
Best Care Anywhere is going pretty good. There's a bunch of us. We all just traveled a bunch or are about to travel. So one of our guys needs a new microphone because his broke on the way out to where he moved to. But it's mostly going well. We just did episode 4. I have to go rush and schedule it to post because I'll be out in the middle of the mountains when it's supposed to go up. But that's Chief Surgeon Who, that's
a great episode.
It's a great episode, and we're excited because a friend of mine who I worked the scout camps with is both working his way up the medical field as a nurse right now and is Korean. So we're going to have him on for episode 5, The Moose, and we're going to kind of have him as a recurring guest whenever the Korean people are kind of in the episode, so we can kind of get it like, hey, is this
accurate?
It's 2022. We're looking back at a show that's 50 years old, and there's a lot of good things about MASH. There's one or two that could have been done better, and we want to discuss it, candidly and have, it's better. We don't want to just be 3 white dudes going, yeah, that looks vaguely Korean. Anyway, back to Hawkeye.
And, I listen to your show every week. I must admit I am an episode behind right now, but I got work's been a little bit challenging. But, it's a fun show to listen to, and, give them a listen. It's called the Best Care Anywhere podcast, and they do some good discussions over the episodes because it was a great show, and it was ahead of its time when it came out in the 70s, and it's really set a lot of standards for comedy.
And it holds up still today. And the whole point, if you're like, I know what MASH is and I haven't watched it, it's on YouTube and Amazon. The whole point of our podcast, it's for people who've never seen it and people who've seen it. So come watch along with us. Now's a good time. You're at the beginning. You only have to catch up 5 episodes. A year from now, you're going to have a whole season to catch up on.
Yeah.
So get on it.
Yeah, speaking of which, as someone who never really watched MASH, and I got to say, I really enjoyed the first episode. And I've been, trying to catch the episodes as I go. It's a really entertaining podcast. And,
yes, it is.
I know some of the more poignant things that happen throughout the series, but as I was never a series watcher of MASH. It just wasn't my thing. But it's kind of fun listening to the podcast and, okay, so that happened. Cool. I mean, it's just really interesting to go back, in a TV time capsule, if you will, and just check out one of the most iconic shows of the 20th century.
Yeah, we'll have to. I know I've talked about it with Greg, but come September is the 50th anniversary of the pilot episode going up. So
time for a crossover
episode.
Yeah,
right on.
But yeah,
bow, bow, bow.
Wrong button.
Yeah, you're a wonderful podcast producer. Hits the intro button for the outro.
That's okay. I've done it.
Vivaldi Spring coming up next. No.
Oh, wait till we have more stuff to put on that. We're going to have to label those suckers.
Yeah, we are. Well, they are labeled.
God help us.
There are labeled? Oh, no.
They're in Korean.
Well, looks like my smoke's getting close to the nub and the rum glass is empty, so I think it's about that time. I want to thank everybody out there, and on behalf of Camera Gorilla, Greg, Larry, and myself, thank you for listening. Check us out at LunaCigarCartel.com. Like and share us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Don't be a stranger. Drop us a line and let us know you're out there. I'm Scottie Robinson, and from all of us here at Beyond the Humidor, we look forward to chatting with you on the next episode. But until then, take care, stay safe and healthy, and as I always say, good smoke, good drink, and good life. What is this dismissive French wave?
English.
Oh, jeez. A pox on you, sir.